So yeah, I was almost done reviewing this figure when my camera app crashed and literally all the footage got deleted. Don't like when does the camera app just crash? I wasn't doing anything crazy or anything. Just recording normal. The video wasn't particularly long. I think it's still under 10 minutes. And it just crashed for literally no reason. I don't know why. And just automatically deleted or something. I have no idea. Anyways, we're gonna have to redo this review. So yeah. Anyways, here is the name of the pterosaur. The packaging again looks nice. Again, I think the rebirth packaging would have been a bit better off without the red striping, but otherwise, I think it's all right. Again, also the font could have been a little bit more unique, but yeah, I think the actual design on the back is pretty nice. You have the Spinosaurus over in this corner. Pretty much all of these are the other figures that released, and I actually saw all of them except for the Minquaria. All the other ones I did actually get to see, and I was tempted to get Archaeornithomime just because of how ridiculous the figure is. But yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much all you need to see on the packaging. There's not much to it, and also the figure, like if I put it back in the packaging so you can kind of see at least what it looked like, was kind of like this. So yeah, you can see kind of like that. Before I decided to take it out of the packaging for the actual review. Now again, gonna have to take a closer look at this figure one more time. So yeah, luckily this is actually a really nice pterosaur figure. You can see the head sculpt, which looks pretty good. You can see the beak has like kind of lines to it, kind of cracks. The crest looks pretty good. Surprised they didn't add any cracks on the crest, but yeah. Teeth are really sharp. I like them until you've been putting them in the effort to make the teeth look sharper, so that's good always. Tongue very narrow and small, but not well sculpted. No paint on the upper part of the jaw, which sucks, but it's not that bad. The eye looks pretty good. And also, when I was doing the other, the first time I recorded this review, I realized that this actually has 3 eyes painted on it. The beak of mine has an extra eye painted on. I don't think that's patterns because literally none of the other patterning on this figure has these colors except for the eyes. So I think they actually painted the eyes on literally 3 times. So yeah. So yeah, we have texture on the wing, kind of like a wrinkly detailing, which looks pretty nice. Something I didn't even notice last time is that it actually has scratches and like kind of cuts in the wing on this side. Definitely not to the Chaos Theory extent, which was ridiculous. Happy they didn't do that much. But yeah, anyways, it's kind of just skin detail, no feathers. Looks pretty nice though. Going down to the tail. Again, the tail fan looks really good, though. It would be a little bit better if it had some colors. Even if it's like just this green color, that would have been cool to put on the tail fan. But yeah. Now we have the underside, which again, more veins, and they look very well detailed, which is really nice to see. Hands are actually pronated correctly. Here's the scan code for this figure, which I accidentally forgot to show. Well, actually, no, I did remember the show. I forgot to show the Innostrand survey, which I showed in the other video, so I'm going to just do it again. Again, I forgot to show the Innostrand survey scan code in its video, so here it is if you like to actually scan onto your Jurassic Facts app. And again, for the actual pterosaur we're reviewing, here it is. So yeah, on to articulation. Pretty much, it has jaw articulation, opens up this wide. Not much more than that, pretty much. I mean, you can push it a little bit further, but yeah. Pretty much that's it. There's no neck articulation, which kind of sucks. Wing articulation, which goes down about this far. I actually realized I have to actually back this up to actually be able to see it, since again, I'm really zoomed in. More zoomed than I usually am for these rebirth reviews. Kind of can go down that far. And can go up about that far. Nothing crazy, nothing too much. Honestly, pretty limited when it comes to a pterosaur, but it does get the job done. Onto the legs, they're kind of like on a hinge joint, so they're actually connected. They don't articulate separately. Which, I mean, it has its pros and cons. I think I prefer when they articulate separately, but it still looks nice. Also, again, no painted claws, but this thing has really long claws, so, yeah. Anyways, I think there might be a swiveling tail articulation, though I cannot tell for sure. Maybe not, because I don't think the head has it. So, yeah, I think the rubber bits just don't have it. But again, this is rubber, so it bends really easily. Same thing for this thing's whole entire face kind of bends really easily alongside the crest. So, yeah. Again, not too much to this figure. It's pretty simple. Now, for the actual measurements. This figure measures in at about 10 inches long. Well, in wingspan. And the length of the actual figure, I'd say, is about 5.5 inches long. And height, not much there, but I'd say like 1 3/4 tall, like 1 3/4 of an inch tall. So yeah. Anyways, now for actual comparisons. First, here's to compare to a Jurassic World human figure, which you can see doesn't really size up too crazily with it. Sizes up nicely, and also here's it in kind of in like height. This thing is way longer. Next, here's it next to a Velociraptor figure, which You can see. Also sizes up with, pretty interestingly, let me actually move this up some. Yeah, sizes up with pretty interestingly. Let me put the wings out. Definitely has a bigger wingspan than this thing is long. And though I have not opened it yet, here's the Torovanistes next to it, which, again, haven't opened, but you can kind of see, get the idea. Again, sorry my camera's kind of out of focus for this, but yeah. Sizes up pretty nicely. Now, compared to the other pterosaurs, I do not feel like getting them all off the shelf. I'm just going to bring you over to the shelf where they're at. Okay, I have all my pterosaurs just up here on the shelf. Pretty high. That's where the review station's at. Didn't want to bring them all the way down there. Again, this is where I got last time before my video recording pretty much all got deleted for some reason. But anyways, here's the next to the Tapijara, the Ornithochirus, you can kind of see back there. The Sungopterus, which yeah, you can see is way bigger. The Pteranodon, which I'm going to actually need to pull this up a little bit more to kind of see. Very similar wingspans to the Pteranodon. I don't have the Rhamphorhynchus figure, but here's the Tapijara. I know we're getting one for Rebirth, so that's kind of a comparison between the two. Again, sorry it's not the best. Here's next to the Quetzalcoatlus and the new Rebirth one. I actually knocked the Pteranodon down, which means we can get a closer look at that in a second. But here's the next to the Rebirth Quetzalcoatlus, which it sizes up with pretty, well, it's absolutely dwarfed by it. It's nice to have diversity in pterosaur size. And again, since my Pteranodon figure just completely jumped for some reason, here's the next to this pterosaur, which actually, no, this thing actually has a longer wingspan than the Pteranodon, I think. So that's pretty crazy. Pteranodon. Now this one wants to fall, which, I mean, I guess that gives it an opportunity. Literally all my pterosaurs want to fall off the shelf right now. You guys cannot actually fly. Please stay on the shelf. You guys cannot actually fly. Anyways, here's the next to the Bite and Blast Mosasaurus, I guess, since it's up here on the shelf. And while we're at it, I might as well show it next to the Spinosaurus. Again, sorry, the lighting is absolutely garbage over here. But, yeah. Also, here's the next two. This Mosasaurus where you can sit right in the mouth pretty easily. So, yeah. Now, for my final thoughts on this figure, it's kind of just my entire opinion on the Wave 2 figures. It's a pretty solid pterosaur figure. It's kind of like, I know the other ones are dinosaurs, but it's just a pretty solid figure. Nothing really wrong with it. I think it's really good, just, it's kind of average. Like, again, if you want just an average pterosaur, this is a pretty good, just average one. Like, if you need a pterosaur to be in the background just as an unnamed pterosaur, this does the job very well. Also, sorry for the scuff here. I accidentally peeled paint off the table, so ignore that, I apologize. But, yeah, pretty much, pretty average. Doesn't have the best articulation. Has all right colors. Has a pretty good sculpt. Again, definitely one of the better of the Wave 2 ones. Like, pretty much, I could separate Purosaurus and Cheilontosaurus from Wave 2 entirely. So, since they're so good, I think they're better than a majority of the first wave of figures. So, yeah. I can't wait for those guys to release as well. But, yeah, again, as, like, excluding those two, I'd say this is probably one of the best. Actually, if not the best Wave 2 figure. Again, the Wave 2 is pretty average. I don't think it's particularly bad, just kind of average. I kind of want to see what Mattel has for Wave 3, because usually for the movies, they at least do 3 waves, so I'm interested to see what Mattel is cooking up for a 3rd wave of Rebirth figures. So, yeah, because they've been doing some pretty good ones, especially the 1st wave. And we'll probably in Wave 3, we'll get, like, the last of the species that we haven't seen, like, we haven't gotten a Triceratops figure, we haven't gotten, the Flying Frogs, like, Neonathus figures, we haven't gotten a figure for the dragons. We really haven't gotten a figure for a lot of things that are going to be in Rebirth. They probably don't want to reveal all that, so they probably saved it for later on. So yeah, probably that's some stuff we'll probably see in Wave 3. Maybe I'll make a concept video on that. Again, this is a review on this figure. Again, if you just want a generic pterosaur figure, I think it's pretty solid. And yeah, again, it's honestly, take it or leave it. If you see it and you want to pick it up, definitely would recommend picking it up. But if you're not particularly interested in it, then yeah, maybe just skip out on this figure. Again, pretty nice, but definitely not a must-have. I think the Rhamphorhynchus figures were a little bit more unique and a bit better than this figure. Not to say this figure is bad. I think those ones were just a bit better. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and okay, real fast, I didn't even realize that this figure can actually hold humans on its feet. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.